the essence is that up and down the country, kids have devices, have access to the internet, and that access to the internet, parents don't know what's happening. Okay? So whilst the school has now become a safe environment for children, the home is where the issue is now occurring, and that's what the adolescence for me portrays, because this child had all of these ideas while he was at home.
And behind me is a woolly mammoth.
इसको क्या खिलाना होता है? So yeah, like I said, when I was browsing LinkedIn and just over all social media, you do see adolescents popping up everywhere. I obviously, after seeing your posts as well, was also intrigued. How do you think that, where do you see the link between, say, parental controls and the series that you've watched so far?
Yeah, so Adolescence is for people who don't talk, breathe, live, parental controls, online safety, smartphone campaigns, etc., etc. For people who don't understand that sphere, which is what the sphere I live in, it's kind of a wake-up call. It's kind of a shock to the system. So I can understand the Prime Minister talking about it and saying that, that all, school children should see it, etc. I think it's kind of a, it's valuable for people to see in terms of recognizing underlying issues that parents just aren't aware of. And even if they are aware of, the impact of those issues and how those issues. But I think that the issues are much broader than adolescence in itself. And it really just pinpointed on the experience of the child, the perspective of the child, the perspective of the school, the perspective of the psychology behind the behavior of the child, as well as the perspective of the parents of the child who committed the crime, etc. It doesn't talk about the victim as such. It doesn't talk about what led to the situation, why this occurred, etc. And I think those are the underlying facts I try to put in my blog. And the essence is that up and down the country, kids have devices, have access to the internet, and that access to the internet, parents don't know what's happening. Okay? And, whether you're on your smartphone, you're on your iPad, you're on your PS5, you're on your laptop, your gaming laptop, etc. And in the case of adolescence, the scene that we saw of the child was his gaming laptop, etc. And everyone, all children want the latest laptop and, these gaming platforms and the big screen and the comfortable, gaming chairs, etc. And those are in people's bedrooms and those are in kids' bedrooms. And so the challenge is, do you know what's happening in that environment? Do you understand as a parent what type of content your child is? Or do you think your child is just happily playing PlayStation, Minecraft, for example? Yeah. Okay? And if you believe the latter, you're oblivious to the issues and the underlying issues that are happening up and down. I mean, 70% of teens hide their online activity from their parents. Okay? There's so many children who at a young age, and I've got statistics galore on our website, etc., who at a young age are accessing content that is harmful content. Kids as young as 8 or 9 are seeing pornographic content on their screens. Grooming and cyber grooming and are happening on social media sites beyond belief. Okay, even applications that parents would seem as harmless, like Roblox, for example, which has been in the news recently, have had parental control issues whereby children are exposed to areas on Roblox where either pedophiles are trying to groom children, or content available on those sites, as in parts of Roblox and access and parts of Roblox are questionable and harmful content that a child should be seeing, etc. And so these are things which are common occurrence on the internet. And as a parent, even as a parent myself, my kids went on Roblox, and until I was aware of the issues, did I change the capability. And so one of the challenges that parents have is there's too many applications, there's too many devices. Okay, so you really have to be a PhD in parental controls for you to really adequately understand the challenges and how to negate all of those issues, or you need to have a one-stop master remote control for your home in terms of parental control. And that's effectively what we've created.
Do you think that there needs to be more of a, because like obviously in the series there's a big role of obviously the school, in the sense that do you think schools can do more to educate people? Also in the series it seemed like the schools were out of control. I don't know how accurate that was. It seemed a bit dramatized, but yeah, I don't know what your thoughts
So
are.
I think from the school side, there's two things happening right now. So the government has established guidelines for content controls within schools. So it's keeping children safe in education guidelines. Okay. And basically, there are requirements now that all schools have to have content filters, okay, to prevent harmful accessing happening on devices that either the child brings from home or the school provides those devices, so the edtech devices. Okay, and so that is part of the school network, and those requirements are part of the government's legislation, this government and the previous government's legislation to keep children safe online at schools. So content filtering is key to that. Okay, and so the other aspect of schools, and a big debate happening in schools, is about smartphones, and you saw that over dramatized in schools. I don't know if any schools are really like that. I mean, my kids went to school here, and the school didn't allow any devices, whether it's smartphone or non-smartphones or Game Boys or whatever, those PlayStation gadget devices, etc. Didn't let any of those devices or iPads at school, unless they were for education purposes in terms of the iPads, which the school then adopted content filters on those iPads. But yeah, so the whole smartphone debate is now moving itself to schools. For me, I'm not a fan of smartphones. I think that smartphones should be limited in terms of age requirements. I definitely think of access control should be provided, whether it's on smartphone. If any parent is to give a smartphone, I haven't provided smartphones for my younger kids, etc. I do understand the dilemma of parents who find the peer pressure of trying to get their kid to fit in or child to fit in, especially if they transition from primary to secondary school, and every secondary school child seems to have a smartphone. So I do understand that, because my own children went through that phase as well, only recently, etc. And I resisted on that. And what I would say to parents is, if you're concerned about the smartphone, it's very simple. Just get a data-free SIM. So when they're at school, they're protected over the school Wi-Fi network, etc. If they've got access, if the school allows Wi-Fi or smartphone usage, which I think that schools shouldn't allow in the first place, and should just take away the phones at the beginning of the day and give them at the end of the day. That's what my kids' schools did, and then with a data-free SIM, You can still communicate with your child. You can still call them, etc. You can still find a way. You can still send SMSs, etc. to them, and they can send back. Or, you can actually find solutions available on our website if you want a limited data and a parental control based data service as well. But a data-free SIM acts on that. They still have a smartphone, and they utilize it in the school in a controlled environment. And if you've got good enough parental controls and a safer Wi-Fi at home, they will access it in that environment over Wi-Fi at home as well. So in between, if you're concerned about your child going to and from school, just get a data-free SIM. It's as simple as that. They still got a smartphone, but it's rendered effectively useless if they don't have data. If it knows no data, they're not going to go into Snapchat or TikTok or other applications which might be harmful for the age that they're in. And so I think, you talk about the schools aspect. The schools are provided content controls. I think the issue is that at home, there's no content controls. Okay. So whilst the school has now become a safe environment for children, the home is where the issue is now occurring, and that's what the adolescence for me portrays, because this child had all of these ideas while he was at home. Okay, this incel culture was while he was at home. This access to content that he should not be accessing was while he was at home. Okay, and it was in the confines of his bedroom. And so, what can parents do about that?
At 12 years old, I remember thinking about Pokemon cards. I think it's insane that this is even a reality for young children.
I mean, it's younger than 12 years old. We've got data that's produced by, big organizations, etc., that says that children as young as or minors have had access in the past to apps such as Grindr, such as Tinder, such as Tumblr, etc. Okay, and so this is not.
Is that parental negligence, do you think? I mean, how does a child that young even know what these things? I can't wrap my head around it.
So the thing is, I don't think it's them necessarily searching for it. I think sometimes it's the algorithms of the content that they and sometimes things pop up, and sometimes if you see something on your feed and you see it, you'll see it often because that's how algorithms work by some of the content providers. So that's an issue for the content providers to address it themselves, and for government to make sure that there's an age verification on some of these things. But I don't think the children are actively, in most cases, looking for it. I think it sometimes pops up, like on Roblox, it'll pop up and something like that. Or you get a friend request and you don't know who it is, and they might be from their school, etc. But it might be someone who's posing as a child, etc. And so that's why you get so many cases of cyber texting and nude and those types of issues that you get with people sharing indecent images or images of themselves in terms of that capability, because they're unaware of who they are. And so is it parental negligence? I think there's statistics that say 50% of parents don't use parental controls. And even if they do have parental controls, I don't think that they know how to use them. And so if you think about that, PlayStation 5 has parental controls. Roblox has parental controls. Snapchat, parental controls. WhatsApp has parental controls. iPhone has parental controls. Microsoft has parental controls. Android has parental controls. Samsung has parental controls. So how do you manage all of those parental controls? It's impossible. It's impossible as a parent. It's impossible for you to navigate. And I think parents just give up.
Yeah.
And so, you can't, it becomes really, really tough. So that's where we as an industry, as ISPs, also have to help our parents. at the end of the day, these are our subscribers. We need to care about our subscribers and what's happening in their families. And that's what we do in terms of our platform. And that's why I talked about managed Wi-Fi, because we can provide a capability of parental control that is in form of an app that we provide to all of our customers. They can manage their Wi-Fi, and on our app, they can put all of their children's devices on there, and they can have a tailor-based content control per child depending on their age group. So the government have created this requirement of having online safety, okay, and committing for content providers to provide age verification. You can do that automatically with our app. So you can say, fine, if your child is from 0 to 5, or from 8 to 12, or from 13 to 18, etc., you got different content filters based upon. And if you want to block things, you can block things. And if you want to block any social media, you can block any social media. You want to block Snapchat, you can block Snapchat. You can allow it for 1 hour a day, or just block it in entirety. You can do YouTube safe search. You could do Google safe search. So all of these content filters are what we provide for the home.